Welcome to the Rising Leader Podcast. I'm your host, Mark J. Silverman. I had several topics set up for today's solo podcast day to share, and all of them just felt superfluous or futile or not that interesting. I couldn't get excited about anything that I wanted to talk about, even though the topics are useful and they're, on a normal day, they'd be good topics, I think. But today I'm just feeling a little, I'm not sure what the word is, but helpless. I think I'm feeling a little helpless because I've been fielding a lot of phone calls lately and a lot of messages lately, and not from my clients, but from people who are inquiring about coaching or old acquaintances, old business associates, friends, people who are in breakdown, people who are having a hard time with things, whether it's things in the world in general or in relationship, that they're down, they're having trouble getting out of their own way, they're sabotaging themselves, or they're just depressed, or their significant other is having trouble and they don't know how to be supportive. So I'm just getting I'm getting a lot of inbound with people having trouble. And if you know anything about me, if you've been listening, like, I'm a helper. My whole entire life, I've been like an ex-smoker. If I know something that's going to help, if I see a video that's going to help, if I read a book that's going to help, if I have some practice that's going to help someone who I think could help someone, I'm going to throw it out there. I am like a crazy ex-smoker that way. This helped me, it can help you. You don't have to be in this bad place. I can help you get out of it. And I've been in a lot of bad places. I was homeless, I was a drunk, and I was alcoholic and a drug addict. And somehow, somewhere between grace and the people who helped me and my own volition, I created a life. And then in midlife, I crashed and burned again and got suicidal and depressed and had panic attacks. And I figured out a way, step after step after step, to pull myself out of that. Not but for me, but because I didn't want to leave a legacy for my kids. It's funny, when I was suicidal and depressed and sick, and my business was in the toilet, I couldn't sell a thing. I made a couple of decisions. One of them was to run the Marine Corps Marathon. You know that story. One was to give $60,000 to charity. Another was to make $1 million, because I really thought I was going to die and leave it to my ex-wife and kids. And while I was running and training for the marathon, because I couldn't run a mile, like I did, this was an impossible goal, I was listening to every self-help book. I was listening to every spiritual book. And at the end of that year, after my career was back on track, the family seemed to be doing better. I wasn't suicidal anymore. I was still depressed, but I wasn't suicidal anymore. My ex-wife said to me, she said, "Mark, I was so worried about you. I was so worried. I was reading about depression. I was reading about these things. And what I noticed was you were doing all the things someone needs to do to work through and get out of that state." So, it was exercise, it was filling myself with good things, it was surrounding myself with people. One of the other things that I did was I noticed that my phone wasn't ringing a lot when I was down. I was in my lonely little apartment, and I was kind of resentful of the world that people weren't calling me to check on me. And somehow, something my brother did for me when I first got sober, I was complaining when I first got sober, and I was just a whiny little bitch. And he said, why don't you find something nice to do for someone every single day and try and make it anonymous? And I did that, and it made me happy when I first got sober. So I thought about this when I was kind of miserable and nobody was calling me. And I said, you know what, I'm going to be the change I want to see in the world, and I'm going to go look for people who need help, people who need me. And that pulled me out of my funk, out of my depression. But what is the whole point of all that? Point of that is I have read almost every self-help book on the planet, every spiritual book. I have gone to every retreat. I have done medicine journeys and meditation journeys, and I've sat with shaman, and I've sat with sex healers, and I've sat with everybody. And I just want to impart it. So whenever someone calls me, I want to help. Again, when we talk about leadership, I've talked about this before. Leadership in and of itself, okay, it's a great topic for a lot of people. It's a little boring for me if leadership doesn't lead to better relationships, better quality of life for the leader. If it doesn't lift things up, for me, leadership is kind of boring. So I use leadership for personal growth, right? To help make that a catalyst to build the kind of life someone really wants to inhabit and live. So I guess this episode, if you're still listening to me, it's my love letter to you that if you're going through a hard time, uh, connect with people. See if there's something you can do for another person. Get out of yourself. If you're ruminating, if your mind's going crazy, get out and exercise, walk. If you're stuck, journal. I journaled like crazy when I was down. There's so many books. Send me a note. Tell me what's going on with you. I'll send you a book recommendation or a video recommendation or anything. If you're struggling, do not do it alone. And if you're struggling and you think you're the only one struggling, you're not. So many people who look great on LinkedIn and on Facebook and on Instagram and on stage are struggling. We're watching the Billy Joel HBO special now, and it never fails. Every time you look at a biography of anybody famous and successful, at the height of their fame, they were the most miserable. Right? It's such a mind fuck. Uh, so if you're suffering, if you think, like, again, you could be living in a beautiful house and have a beautiful spouse and a beautiful family and a great job and still be suffering. Don't feel guilty about that. There's a lot of heavy energy out in the world here. There's a lot going on. And the human predicament, like every video, every advertisement, every news story is meant to make you feel bad. Everybody wants you feeling bad because that means you'll spend money or your attention. That's all any of these people want, is your money and your attention. And you have to take that back for your life. So whether you're facing a real crisis, that's something in your life that's really tough. If that's happening, don't ever forget to put the oxygen mask on yourself. Don't ever forget to take care of yourself. If you're a people person, go find people that you can be with, that they can listen to you and you can vent so that you can go back into whatever situation and help. If you're a loner, if you're like me, an introvert, and you need alone time, go find that alone time. Do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself, because when you're at your best, that's when you can help. When you're depleted, that's not when you can help. So take care of yourself, love yourself, and the last thing I guess is don't believe what's going on between your ears. That's not helpful. Again, these days especially, not only is what's going on between our ears coming from childhood, but it's also coming from advertisements and video and news and Instagram and all that stuff. So don't believe what's going on between your ears. If you're having a hard time, get help. I promise you, there's always, as long as you take a step, one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time, there's always something on the other side of that. There's something to learn. There's something to grow. I promise you. And send me a note. You want a book? You want a video? You want something? I will send it to you. I love you a ton. Thanks for hanging with me. We'll see if we publish this. I love you. Have a great rest of the day.